Our next panelist is the CEO and founder of Maven, the largest Black-owned hair extensions brand and virtual hair salon. His company has generated over $100 million in revenue since it was founded in 2013. Give it up for Diishan Imira. Welcome, Diishan.
For me, in short, it's about the founders.
So, Diishan, I think about those numbers, right? 100 million generated in revenue. That's just like beyond, right? And in this conference, we're talking about Black excellence. We're talking about Black wealth. We're talking about Black legacy building. And I know when I'm in Silicon Valley every week, you know, I believe it was our ancestors' wildest dreams for you to be sitting here, for us to be sitting here. So if you could tell us, what was the mindset that you were in when you built your business, when you scaled your business, and when did you know you had it?
Well, I think, you know, first of all, you know, I always felt, you know, I felt fortunate in being supported. I had family that supported me. You know, I was fortunate to go to school. I had a lot of things going for me, and I felt very obligated to do something that was going to return that favor back to the world. And I've always felt like that. And I come from a family that, you know, most of my family are not business people at all, right? You know, they're very social justice oriented. I've got, you know, people in my family that are, you know, I'm from Oakland, California, and they're like Black Panthers and communists, and, you know, they're all about the community. And I come from that. I just also happen to be incredibly independent, which they raised me to be. And so I always wanted to create something myself. I wanted to live outside of the corporate structure. I had a vision of my own that I could create something. And I always felt like I could. I always felt like if someone else could do that, I could do that, right? And everybody in here should know that you can do that. There is nothing that you can't do that someone else is doing. So that's the spirit and the, like, just sort of like where I come from and my mentality and what my mentality has always been. And I was always willing to kind of do anything to stay independent and grind into what it's become today. And it didn't start with like just selling $100 million of bundles. Like, I started out selling sneakers out of the trunk of my car. I was just pulling up to the barber shops and salons, and I was just selling knockoff bootleg Jordans out the trunk of my car. But I was serving my community. I was looking for what people needed, finding it for the low, and giving it to people for the low.
Supply and demand, right?
Supply and demand. And at the end of the day, like, that's the fundamentals of all business, right? You're just looking for a need. You know, you're looking to solve somebody's problem, and then someone's gonna pay you to solve that problem for them. So anyway, I say that to say, you know, $100 million, you know, it started with $50, $100. And everything that becomes big starts small. And now that I'm, you know, 100 million in, I look at 100 million like it's small. I'm going for the billion. Woo. Right? And so, you know, but it starts small. Like, I came to things like this and events like this to come and learn and hear somebody else that was in my seat right now say this for me to just start on this path. And that's what it takes, right? Just start. Yeah.
So my next question is for Diishan and Marlon. You both have partnered around your business model, right? Maven. And I think about, you know, our numbers as Black and brown people, our Black numbers alone, we spend more than $1 trillion in revenue annually, right? I think of, you know, our consumer numbers being so big, right? I know certainly for me, the beauty business is where I buy, where I swipe, where I spend bundles on bundles on bundles. Got some today. And
were they Maven though? But what okay.
So, Diishan, I'm gonna need that package.
We're gonna have to work on that.
I'm gonna work on that.
All right.
I'm gonna work on that. Yes. And, you know, for me, it's a mindset shift, right? On going from consumer, yeah, but to ownership, right? Having a piece and a stake in this. And so, you know, my question to you is, how were you able to cut through the beauty business? Such a saturated market, right? I would assume, I don't know. But it appears to be a very saturated market, highly competitive. So why beauty? And how were you able to navigate and cut through?
I mean, it's not necessarily about like a market being saturated. It's about whether or not problems that exist are being addressed or not. There can be a million players in a space, but there could still be a problem that nobody is solving yet. In my case, what I saw was, and I had a hairstylist in my family, and she just asked me to get her some bundles from China. And I did, and next thing you know, I was selling bundles out the trunk of the car to salons and stylists. And what was crazy to me, and this is back in 2013 or so, everybody was buying hair from these corner store beauty supply stores, which are basically all owned by Koreans. And the stylists weren't really selling hair, and they weren't making money from selling hair. And the inventory was really expensive for them, right? So to me, what I saw was, oh, these salons have a problem. They should be making thousands and thousands more dollars by also selling the hair that they're installing every single day. But they don't have money for inventory. The beauty supply store, the Korean monopoly, is holding all the inventory. They won't sell to them. They don't know where to go get it in China, who to trust, all that stuff. I used to live in China, and I knew how to navigate that. And so it was really like just seeing a problem. That's how you cut through. That's where the door is. The door and the lane is where there's a problem that nobody is solving. And you find that, and if you can solve that problem, for a lot of people are going to give you money to help them solve that problem. So it's really about like just finding like where the problems are that people are feeling and then solving it for them.
So Marlon, the data behind that. Did you need data? Did you need to review the analytics? Did you go with your instinct? Did you know, what led you to making that choice and decision to invest?
So, all right. So the objective answer is yes. We looked at the data, right? And just to build on what he said about markets and them being saturated, you can have really large markets that aren't continuing to grow. What was interesting about this market is that it was a $9 billion market that was still growing, and there was a big part of the population that was locked out of it, right? So that was the objective view. The subjective view is my mom owns a beauty salon. She basically used that to raise me, and I saw the problem firsthand. She could never sell product, and when she did have to go to buy product, it was in one of these little Korean stores, and she wasn't treated very nicely. So I felt the problem personally, experienced it personally, and then objectively looked at this market and was just like, this is big, and he's approaching it in a way that no one else had done before. And on top of that, he was the right person to do it because of his experience abroad and his experience in supply chain and logistics, and his co-founder, Taylor, around building the tech and what he knows about supply and logistics as well. So all those things put together just made this seem like a winning opportunity, and clearly it's on its way.